We're talking to Brad and his wife, Michelle, and his girlfriend, who is going by the name Sarah. It's a complicated triangle. Now, there was so much to talk about that we're continuing with them because I think there is real need here. I think there are lives that can be crumpled up and thrown away here, beginning with the children, because two people involved are giving themselves permission to not only do what their impulses tell them to do, but I think in a complete and selfish disregard for its impact on everybody else. Now, Brad, in everything we've been over, we've been over what I call your resume, your history as a relationship partner. We've been over the history of this relationship back and forth. You say, I don't know if I even want to have anything to do with him anymore. Is that a knee-jerk hurt feeling, or is the fog lifting from around your head?
I don't know.
I mean, is it really? Does she say this in anger sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah.
You said this before.
Yes. Yes.
All right, walk me through this. You leave here and you go home and you stay in the relationship. What's going to happen?
This is going to continue.
Mm-hmm. You would agree with that, right?
So far, we haven't been able to stay away from each other.
You would agree with that, right?
I would say the probability is high.
Okay, so these two people are telling you that they have been having a mental, emotional, sexual affair at your house, in the car, in hotels, any place you can carve out a niche, and they're telling you they're going to continue that. What do you say to that?
I'm not going to put up with it. I will back out and let them have their way. You know, I'll divorce him. You can have him. Have each other. Have a great life.
Okay, but you've said that before, and I ask you if that's just a knee-jerk reaction. No, is there a point at which you say, you know what, I deserve, my children deserve better than this?
Yes. Most definitely.
One of your questions was, do we realistically have a future here? My prediction is that if you actually once were free and got married, you would become Michelle. And you would line them up just like you've been lining them up with your current wife. Because the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And barring some major change, and I know you say, but he loves me. He loves me. Don't kid yourself, girl. This ain't about you. And it's really not about you. You have a serious problem here. Now, we can call it sexual addiction. We can call it inadequate personality. We can call it used to be a stud in high school, lost my hair, and have to keep proving my virility. Took a lot of courage for me to say that. Whatever label you want to put on it, you are functioning at an incredibly immature level. Okay? It's a level at which impulse controls instead of impulses are controlled. And it sounds so trite for me to say, Michelle, don't personalize this, what's happening, because, I mean, how much more personal could it be to have your marriage ripped apart, have your husband cheating on you, lying to you, stealing time, effort, energy, money, everything that could be invested in the family being invested in some interloper? That's a pretty personal affront. But when I say don't take it personal, I mean this has nothing to do with you. You could be the most wonderful, just punch it up on a computer, what you would think would be the perfect woman. And it wouldn't matter. Because the truth is, you are an intelligent, articulate, beautiful, vibrant woman. It isn't about you. This isn't about your inadequacies. Statistically, the chance that you two will have a successful relationship after you leave is probably not 1 in 100. A marriage that starts in infidelity, what kind of foundation is that? Then having to try to manage your exes and go through custody battles for children and all of that sort of thing. And if you think for a minute that a court is likely to regard you in a very positive way in terms of conservatorship for your children, given the genesis of your marital breakup and where you're headed, don't you think they might have a problem with your judgment and predicting the quality with which you might mother your children?
Yeah, I thought about that.
How would you feel about leaving your home and your children staying behind with your husband?
That just would never happen.
Pardon me?
I won't let that ever happen. I would never leave my children. That's one thing I know my husband knows. I'm a good mother. He would never, I don't think, ever try to take the children away from me.
People change when they get in that divorce court. I mean, seriously, you need to think about the fact that right now, you feel in power and you feel in control because you're the one that's being sought after and pursued. But once he realizes and decides that you're out the door and you're going with him, then he just may decide, I'll be damned if that boy's going to raise my children. You're putting your children in play. Do you get that?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you enter the divorce arena in the midst of infidelity, in the midst of double infidelity, and a husband that says, I don't want the man that stole my wife, in fact, stealing my children. I'm going to fight tooth and nail to keep them. You have put your children at play. You put them up on the table. You're up there playing blackjack. You threw your kids up on the table. Tell me how you feel about that.
I guess I've never really thought about it like that. That it really could happen. It scares me to death.
One of the things you said is, what do I do with all this guilt? And interestingly enough, I do believe that you have guilt about this. I think you are very wishy-washy. I think you go one side of saying, I'm going to go do this, and then probably right after you feel guilty, I think you flip-flop back and forth. I think that's part of the immaturity, emotional immaturity. And I'm not saying that to insult you. I'm saying it as a commentary on your conduct.
I understand that.
But I guess what I'm saying is, have you considered that the best way to assuage your guilt is to stop transgressing? I mean, stop the bleeding first.
Right.
Okay, you got to get out of this thing. And you keep saying, both of you keep saying, well, we just can't help it. Move. If you have to, get away. If you're so out of control that you just like a moth to flame, then get away from the candle.
We've discussed that.
I mean,
know that they've discussed that.
Really, and I'm not saying that fixes your problem. It's just Sarah becomes Sue, and Sue becomes Carol, and Carol becomes whoever. What this amounts to is you need serious professional help. It may not be in time to save your marriage and your family, but I think what you have to do is get to the bottom of why you are the way you are. And you are the way you are because you never matured beyond a certain point emotionally. And I have some pretty good theories of why that we can talk about at some point, but I'm not really here about why today as much as I am about how. How you get out of this self-destructive, other-destructive mode. And you need help figuring out, because we all grow. We grow mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, every way. And you continue to grow mentally. You continued to grow physically, but you were arrested in your growth emotionally. We're getting to a point that you have to make a decision to walk out of this deception, to walk out of this emotional quagmire, and do something different than what you've been doing before. What I want to know is that I want you to know, I've said probably 10 things to you today that you said, I never really thought about it that way. I never really thought about it from that point of view. You said a few minutes ago, after having this conversation, I see this differently. So, armed with that point of view, armed with that perspective, do you care enough about your children and their safety and security, mentally and emotionally and environmentally, to withdraw from this situation, put all of your interest and energy into their well-being, and seek to heal your marriage?
Yes, I want to.
You need to get help so you're not infecting people with this addiction, with this sexual exploitation. Are you willing to do that?
Yes, I am.
If I arrange that, will you do it?
Yeah, yes, I will.
And will you leave her alone?
Yeah, no, see, we've been through this several times, and what happens, it's not just me that calls her and how, I mean, it's back and forth.
I didn't ask you what
breaks.
she was going to do. I asked you what you were willing to commit to. Are you willing to say, I will get help and leave this woman and her family alone? You are an interloper. You are a transgressor. You are a burglar. And you need to get out of her house, get out of her family, get out of her life. You can't control what she does. You can only control what you do. That's all I'm asking you. And I will get you help to make that come true. I will get you the help. I will get you the support to help you do that, to find that strength, to find that control. But you have to be a willing spirit. Because if you go in there and just try to con, manipulate, and lie to the help I get you, I ain't going to waste my time. If you're not going to be a willing spirit, then you're on your own. I'm just asking, will you be a willing spirit in leaving this woman alone?
Yes, I will.
Don't you want him to leave you alone? I mean, I know that there is a part of you that feels that, but it's either, you're going to make a choice. You're either going to choose your family and your children, or you're going to choose him, because you can't have both. You know that. You know you can't have both. It's going to get fractured. You're either going to heal it or you're going to fracture it. That's your choice. Certainly after being here, I mean, we can call you Mother Teresa if we want to, but you know what's going on here. And you've got to make that choice. So what do you want?
I want him to leave me alone.
I'm sorry?
I want him to leave me alone.
Bottom line is, you're going to put your arms around him, you're going to put your arms around your children. There's not room for both. I wouldn't think that would be a hard choice. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.